One of the most interesting things about working in a cemetery is telling people you work in a cemetery. I just love the reaction because it's always the same. They have no idea how to react. They have no idea what to say. So the first thing I get is the blank stare. After that, we move right into the jokes. People must be dying to do business with you. I heard business is really dead, but that you're killing it. I bet your customers are a bunch of stiffs. At least they don't talk back. I think that I've heard them all. My favorite story, though, is about the guy who bought his mother-in-law a cemetery plot for Christmas. The following year, he didn't get her anything. And when she asked, why no gift, he said, well, you still haven't used what I gave you last year. I know. But after the jokes, ultimately we'll get to the questions. There's always questions. This, by the way, is the part that my wife likes the least, because she knows that the next hour is going to be filled with talk of cremation or full body. Do I need to be embalmed? What's the deal with vaults? How much does it cost? And my favorite topic, memorialization in genealogy. You see, not a day goes by in the course of my work where I don't have somebody in my office trying to trace their roots or find out something about their ancestors. They're always looking for the same thing. What can you tell me about these people? And this is nothing new. From the beginning of man's time on earth, we've inscribed our history, from cave walls to the pyramids to the modern cemeteries of today, all of which provide a permanent record of the cherished events and people of countless generations. In turn, we study these stories as a way of connecting to and learning from those ancestors. Now, there was a time when studying our past in this way was solely done by anthropologists. But in the modern era, that's changing dramatically. Incredible numbers of people today are delving into the search for who we are and where do the branches of our family tree lead us. Now, technology certainly has fast-forwarded this process. Ancestry.com today has millions of users that log on and search for whatever they can find out. Ancestry alone has over 750,000 Facebook followers. The website findagrave.com has 112 million grave records. And the astounding thing about Find a Grave is every one of those entries was posted by a volunteer. You can request any grave site you want, anywhere in the world, and a volunteer in that area will find the grave site, photograph the marker, and put it up on the site. My cemetery alone has over 95% of our interments on Find a Grave. That's over 10,000 grave records, and almost every one of them was posted by one volunteer. He has an incredible passion for our cemetery, but it's a lot of work. He spends a lot of time at it. Ultimately, all of this interest has had the great effect of making cemeteries a true repository of the history of man. Now, when I have somebody walk into my office carrying a 3-ring binder, I know exactly why they're there. What can you tell me about so-and-so? Well, the first thing I do is pull out the family's file. Unfortunately, there's usually not much there. Names, dates of birth and death, an occasional reference to where they were born. Useful information for building the tree, but oftentimes disappointing when it comes to learning anything really about the person. We're trying to change that at my cemetery. We're doing things a little differently. When I'm arranging a service for a family member, I now go through what I call a biology of my loved one questionnaire. Now, unlike an obituary, which tends to be kind of dry and dull, I focus on the unique qualities of the individual. What 5 words best describe them? What were the most important events in their life? Are there any special family traditions, talents, hobbies, interests? What were their favorite TV shows, sports teams, vacation spots, food, music. You see, 50 or 100 years from now, when I've long become a permanent resident at Woodlawn Cemetery, I can imagine the person in my job being able to tell that family, did you know that your great-great-grandfather's favorite food was Twinkies and Mountain Dew? Or that his favorite singer was the legendary Justin Bieber? Or that his favorite thing to do in all the world was to embarrass his kids by doing the gratitude dance in public? Now that's connection. Now, although our current files don't have that kind of information, we can oftentimes get the same response when we get people out of the office and into the park. Headstones have an abundance of information about the people being memorialized. Sometimes the clues to their personality are subtle. The marker might contain their favorite flower or bird or a symbol of their faith. Other times, it's a bit more straightforward, such as a written description of their philosophy to life. Other times, we may find that the headstone will memorialize a profession or a career. And I think years from now, cemeteries are going to be a wonderland of the exploration of pop culture. I wish I was going to be around 200 years from now to try to explain this one. Now, my favorite thing is when people come into my office to pre-plan. We get some of the most interesting markers that tell the greatest stories when we decide for ourselves the message we want to share with future generations. Whether it's, come sit with Grandma and tell me all about it. Or perhaps it's sharing our sense of humor. Or simply passing on the recipe for Kay's fudge. This is our opportunity. This is our legacy message. This is our chance to tell our story and share our lives for centuries to come. So this is my challenge to you. How do you want to be remembered? What story do you want to tell? And how can we carve that message in granite? Thank you.